I'd like to say a few words about Anita. And I didn't know Anita, and Hung said, hey, we want to do this interactive session, and I've got this great person I know, Anita Grantham, and I was like, well, I'm not familiar with her, so I looked her up on LinkedIn, and her LinkedIn profile, she said, I'm a culture architect. And I said, I say that too on LinkedIn. I was like, okay, let's talk to Anita. And beyond just her work in culture, she also is just very kind. Every time I talked with her on the phone, she said, is there anything I can help you with? Anything you need? How are you doing? She said it in a way where I felt like she really wanted to know the answer. And sometimes I did say, oh, there's a lot of details. I'm a little stressed. She said, okay, what can I do? And so it's just been so fun building culture with her and creating this session. And she's not exactly the type of person that has a ton of time on her hands to help out, but she really has. Just yesterday, she was at a board meeting. She flew in. She's in escrow to sell the dive bar that she owns. And she also works as the chief people officer at Pluralsight and has recently moved. And she's still here with us today to facilitate a guided few exercises. So please welcome to the stage, and I'll be helping out too, but let me introduce you and welcome Anita Grantham.
I am so grateful to be here with all of you today. And I can so identify with the comment that we can look to each other and say, we get it. How awesome is that? I feel so just humble to be here in this group with all of you. So how many of you sent a survey out to your organizations asking for feedback in the last 2 quarters? All right. Well, we all know as people and talent leaders that the best way to get involvement on our surveys is to actually respond back to the data we receive from that survey. And so that is what we're doing today. We are listening to all of you, and we are saying you gave us data that we wanted to take into account in creating this culture experience for all of you today. And so we are doing that. And so part of what we've been talking about today in the message all the way through, and I really appreciated Smiley's talk. It was just awesome. And so I wanted to start today and talk about the passion and purpose for Pluralsight to democratize professional technology learning. I don't go to work or actually spend any time on anything that I can't connect with purpose. So I'll challenge Smiley and the team to say purpose isn't a millennial challenge, it's a human challenge. We all want to be connected to purpose. And I want to be connected to things that help me feel like I play a greater role on this planet and in this life that we have. And so anytime that you can connect to purpose, it's super powerful. So I wanted to share with you that in the aspect of my life that is Pluralsight, this is our purpose, and it's about changing the world in this way. I feel like all of us here are connected to the purpose that life is too short to work for a place that we're not passionately committed to. And we don't want to do anything else but doing that. And so part of the way that we do that in our organization is connecting our people to core values. These are our 3 core values at Pluralsight. And we're going to talk about this in our activity section, our interactive session. But I want you to be thinking about today, how are the core values of your organization driving your behaviors? But in a deeper sense of this, how are the core values in your life as individuals driving your actions and decision making every day? So let's get started with this interactive session. Let's not hold back. It's almost time for lunch. We want to make sure that you have great conversation over lunch. And so we're just going to go ahead and get started. We're handing out some beautiful colored paper to all of you. It's neon. It's in the color scheme of our time together. And so just take one and pass it along. And I'm going to give you some very, very difficult, specific instructions to go in this very high-tech exercise that we're about to engage in. So thanks to everybody for passing those along. as you're doing this and as you're getting your papers, I really want you to think about and write down on your phone or your laptop or whatever medium you be using for taking notes. Think about your individual purpose as a human, as an individual. Do you have one? Have you considered what it is before? It's a perfect follow-up to Smiley's talk. So have you spent time thinking about your individual purpose? And then can you articulate your organization's purpose? And can you write that down too? How many of you, by a show of hands, can say that your individual purpose directly lines up with that of your organization? It's a pretty, I'd say about 50-50 it looks like from the audience. Can you write down your top 3 core values as an individual? Kendall, you can say yes. That's awesome. Would you mind sharing one of them with the group?
Yeah, one of the core values is kindness.
Kindness. Kendall has one core value of kindness. That's one. Do you want to share another?
Oh, sure. Okay. Connectivity.
Connectivity.
So that's a good one where I just want to make sure that if there's something good that I can help and share with someone else, I will, and also open for feedback from other people to help as well.
So kindness and connectivity. And connectivity for Kendall is defined 2-way, where she wants to hear feedback and give feedback. So that's just awesome. And how many of you can actually identify with the core values of your organization? Would you raise your hand if you can? Oh, that's beautiful. That's about at least, I'd say, 80% of the organization. It's so awesome to be in like-minded company. All right, so here we go with this very serious high-tech exercise. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and hold the paper out in front of you. Please fold your paper in half. Please fold it in half again. Please close your eyes. Close your eyes. We must follow instructions. Very serious. Please fold down the left corner as if to make a triangle. Tear off right corner. Do you need a paper? Here, I've got an extra neon right here for you. I don't want you to be left out. All right, open your eyes and open your snowflakes. Hold them up, I want to see them all. I want to see them all in their beauty and their glory. Look at these awesome, awesome snowflakes. I really want to take a selfie right now, but I gave my phone up to be up here. Oh, good. Oh, good, Vanessa, let's do a selfie with the snowflakes in the background. You get them all? Awesome, we've got it. That's so cool. All right, so I gotta tell you, hold them up a little bit more. Okay, all right, correct me if I'm wrong here. I, for this moment in time, am your fearless leader, and did I not give you all the same instructions? Why on earth do I have 300 different snowflakes? What is it? Am I an ineffective leader? What is it? What is it that I could have done because I just got 300 different results based on my single input? That's impossible. I'm a communicator. What is it that I could have done better, different? Shout it out. Give me some feedback. Let's practice as people and talent leaders. Give me some feedback. Yes, please.
Said what you didn't show. That would have been worse.
There's 3 ways we learn. Yeah, that's awesome. So I used auditory. There's 2 other ways. I can see it and I can do it. I see some feedback. Oh yes, we've got the box. So let's throw the box. And I chose to share with you, but I could have shown you. That would have been helpful. Actually, would have been more helpful is if I actually cared enough as a leader to ask you what your learning style is, and I engaged with you that way before I even gave direction. What else could I have done better or different? Yes. I could have been more specific. I could have said hot dog or hamburger on the fold, right? That would have been helpful. Great, thank you. What else could I have done? Sorry, say one more time. Oh, I could have given you the vision. We heard about vision. We heard talking about vision, right? Tatiana talked about us about that and sharing the vision, sharing the story for vision. I could have done that and shared with you my end desire goal. What else could I have done better as a leader? Yes, Jennifer?
Gotten feedback from us along the way.
I could have gotten feedback. Some of you asked me questions, and what did I do when you asked me a question? I did not answer. No, I ignored you. That never happens in our organization, does it? No, it doesn't. So with this is what I wanted to symbolize around culture. How many of you roll out programs and initiatives and you get 300 different responses from the people that you roll it out to? Has that ever happened? A few of you want to say yes. I'm not afraid. It's happened to me. And the primary reason is because we're not spending any time doing all of those things that we just described. And the single thing that will make it different for you is to get shared buy-in, shared vision around the end goal. I'm in the middle of something a little bit hairy at Pluralsight. I walked into a new role in the middle of a compensation rollout. Does anybody have any, can I just have an empathy groan for me right now? Yeah, it's been fun. It's been team building for all of us. And what we didn't do is we didn't get clearly defined on the outcome. We didn't get clearly defined on what we wanted as to the purpose of rolling this out with all the leaders, with all the people that would be selling it to their people. Because let's be clear, any people and talent initiative succeeds or fails with the buy-in we have from our leaders. Our leaders are our customers, and that's why I was so grateful for Hung and Vanessa to start us out today, hearing from our customers, hearing from people like Tatiana, hearing from people like Scotch about what works and how they implement our programs. And so it is critical that we listen to our customers and we hear them around it. And then we couch it under a platform for our purpose as an organization and our values. Because let's be honest, that's what's really driving behavior. And if they're not posted on our walls and within our behaviors, there's still a culture there. And it's whatever behaviors we're seeing on the other side. So let's get involved. Let's do this right now. And I want you to get into groups of 3. However you want to do it. We've already had some great interaction today, preferably with people that you've not met before. And on any sheet of paper, I want you to rate on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being incredible. How clearly defined is your purpose and mission? And we're talking about your organization in this case. How clearly defined is it? How clearly defined are your values? So the way you'll know if they're clearly defined is if they show up everywhere in the workplace, not within the people and places team, but in the business with your customers, driving performance and outcomes. And how do you see those come out in the behaviors? Because that will be the justification for your score. So take a few minutes right now, give ratings to those 2 items, and then we'll discuss. I'm open to answer questions, by the way, if I was not clear. Okay, finish up your last thoughts here. Who has the mic box? That is, all right, that's awesome. All right, let's really get some action on this thing now. I think this is one of the coolest things here. Okay, so what's present for you around this conversation? Let me hear from between 7 and 10 on clarity on purpose and mission. Who's got that for us? Who can kick us off there? We've got some right here.
Yeah, where?
And if you can give us an example around the behavior that you're seeing driving clarity and purpose and mission as you share with us, that would be great.
Okay, so actually I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia. So that's like about 22 hours of flights.
Hold it a little bit closer, I think, for everybody to hear.
Okay, so I'm from banking industries, and mission and purpose in banking industry is basically, I rated 10 on the scale 1 to 10. How we define values, well, just 5 years ago we actually changed our values, and we involved the employees to actually build our own values. The only challenge is number 3 is actually how do we live the values in our behavior, and I would rate that scale 5. The problem with the banking industry is that we are buying talents from the market, so it's difficult to engaging all of these new people into the company. So
So just to hear back in case some of that was missed, what I heard you say is that you feel like you have a good, strong sense of purpose and mission within your organization, but you're having a hard time driving behaviors that are visible around values, and her industry is financial. And so that's really helpful. So don't let Culture Summit end in vain. You have to take some of these things back and implement them. It doesn't have to be big, just like in Tatiana's slide. I loved it. Start small. Take something back. And even if you are demonstrating the behavior consistent in your values, one time a day, better and different, that will make an impact. So let's hear from somebody that was in the 2 to 5 range around values and behaviors. Is anybody willing? You don't have to say your organization if you don't like. No one. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being brave. Oh, that's awesome.
Hi, my name's Jasmine. I work for Insight Data Science. So I would say for our purpose and mission, we're about a 2 because organizationally we don't have like a clear mission statement or purpose. Within our teams, we have very clear purpose and mission. I would say that we succeed in our values, which was developed about 6 months ago, and we see it pop up in our behaviors and interactions every day at work. We do start with the why. A lot of people begin their meetings with the purpose of the meeting and the why. Other things include like iterating constantly. So we are a company that is always improving and trying to see like what can we do better. So those are 2 examples.
Awesome feedback. So what I heard you say, it was a little bit lower on the purpose and mission score organizationally, but departmentally there was real strength there, and also real strength around values. And actually she gave us a great tool. If you're not familiar with Simon Sinek, Start With Why. It's an imperative watch on TED channel. It will just really transform your internal communication and external communication for that matter. But it's just a really great tool. So now I'd love to hear from somebody in the audience that learned something so powerful you have to share it with the rest of us. Come on, something that's going to change your world going back. Who's got it? If not, we need to rethink this exercise, which could be possible. Okay, great. We've got one here. Thanks. Oh!
Yeah. Hi. So I actually think when the value statement you put up around truth seekers, entrepreneurs, blanking on
Eternal optimist.
internal optimists, is those are personas and not adjectives. And for me, I think the value piece is a lot of the time it's just like a stream of adjectives that are potentially loosely defined or open for interpretation. And I think the way you have them as almost these personas is something that people can live and internalize in a much more real way. So that was something that even thinking about how defined are our values, ours are very adjective driven, and therefore I feel like not very clearly defined. And I didn't really realize how it could be written until I saw yours at the beginning, and I was like, oh, this is so much better.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what I heard her say is that there's different ways to write values that will drive behaviors and have people connect. And what is so beautiful about what you shared with us is we are all in the people and talent space. So would you agree that by nature, we believe people buy into our projects and initiatives more than we do, probably? Right? By nature, we think everybody's getting it pretty good. But what we need to be aware of is how it's occurring for our customer. And so what you shared, and share with me your name again. Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. Hannah shared something that you have to take back. When we roll things out, we need to beta test it. We need to run our culture like it's a product iteration. We need to beta test it. We need to get customer feedback. We need to get data on what's working and what's not and how it's driving the behaviors that we want. Because the way we are putting things together and the way it's being perceived, I guarantee you is not in alignment. I would bet my pinky toe. And the way we've got to do that is validate it just like we validate before we roll out a new product launch. And if we do anything less, we aren't credible to the business. I hear a number of people and talent leaders say to me, Anita, how do I get a seat at the table? Well, run your organization like the rest of the business runs it. Get customer insights, build a plan, make it based on data, and deliver it back to the organization, and iterate and iterate and iterate until we get it right. And so it's really important that we think about how it occurs for our customers in a way that will drive the behavior and the performance that we need in the business. Super powerful. How many of you have ever flown on Southwest Airlines? Who's a fan? All right, plus or minus, we won't share it with them. Anybody familiar with Ann Rhodes? Just a minority. Well, I'll tell you, if you're in people and talent and you're curious about just a idol for people and talent in an age where it was really new, Ann Rhodes is the person you need to research. She was the head of people under Herb Kelleher when Southwest was really getting going. And she is genius when it comes to values driving behaviors. And she has this quote, leaders drive our values, which drive our behaviors. And this is the pivotal point that we've got to be clear on when it comes to culture. Behaviors drive our culture. You know, we use the term so loosely. We're so loose with our language. You know, when we say actions speak louder than words. And that is precisely what shows up in culture. And then that culture drives our performance. So any leader that comes to you and says that culture is not an indicator of performance, you need to take back to this. And we can generate data around this all the time. I just had the lucky incident of meeting with Dave Ulrich's team, who has some of the best data on the impact of leadership to the business, if you're needing some good statistics. But this is really what's occurring here. And so whether you like Southwest Airlines or not, would you raise your hand if you feel like their experience on their planes is fairly consistent? Right? You know what you're going to get when you fly a Southwest flight. And I love this example. And why I love this example is because it's lasted for over a 25-year period. And let's be honest, we haven't seen that trend out of most tech companies yet. You know, Google's a great example, Amazon is a great example, Apple's a great example, but the rest of us are trailing behind. And so we need to look at a 25-year sample to show true indicative performance of year-over-year business performance greater than the general market. And Southwest Airlines continues to have that, and it's driven through this, behaviors driving culture that drives performance. And so as you're thinking about this, and you may be saying, you know, why are we spending time on values and purpose? Because that's where it starts. That's the core of what we do as culture leaders. That's how we anchor back to our decisions and our programs and our decision making. That becomes our why, and how we actually end up and show up in serving our customers. So to build a culture at scale, this is one of the big pieces of feedback that we heard from all of you. We have to define it. So go back to the snowflake exercise and think about that. And then once it's defined, and we are really clear about that chart that Ann Rhodes gave us, we've got to talk about our leadership buy-in. I shared something with you earlier that I'm intensely passionate about, that every initiative that we go to launch greatly succeeds or fails based on our number one customer. Who is our number one customer? Leaders. Absolutely. And this is why leadership matters, and it goes straight back to Smiley's data. It's not just millennials. People don't leave for compensation. They may tell you that they do, but they leave because they don't want to work for their leader anymore. They leave because they don't feel like they're empowered to grow. Think about right now and write down one person that's changed the trajectory of your career path. And write that person down or keep it lodged in your head. And please call them and thank them after this. Bless you. please call and thank them, because it is this type of activity that makes greater organizations and greater people. And really, it's not baloney. If you go to the best companies list, the Forbes Great Place to Work Institute, they'll actually share with you the best companies outperform their peers, and they do it through leadership. So this is, again, I'm a real big believer that culture drives performance. It's actually like I'm born that way. That's why I do this work, is because I go back to the statement that we started with, that life is too short to do anything but connect to our higher purpose through our work. It's just a great gift when we can give that to our people. And when we do that, our companies outperform the general market. And when we do that, we have exceptional performance, and we actually can live our purpose. So this is where it comes back in a beautiful circle. If you're connected internally, intrinsically, to the purpose of your organization, and you're generating that out in the world, it doesn't get more beautiful than that. And so we are leaders. Each and every one of us here are leaders, not just of our culture, but of our purpose and our business performance. And I encourage you to challenge yourself in the way you show up in your organization. Do you show up as a people and talent leader, or do you show up as an advocate for the business? Do you show up with a level of business acumen and a level of knowledge about your customers that will change the world and what you're doing? Because we have to come from a broader set. If we come speaking from people and talent all the time, our peers won't necessarily believe that we understand what's happening on the marketing side, on the demand gen side, on the sales side, on the product innovation side. The way to connect with them is through our business acumen. And so as we talk about the second piece of feedback that we got from all of you after the last Culture Summit, it was how to gain leadership buy-in. And it comes through our ability to relate to our peers and how we use the data as we're talking about their business. Because if they're coming to us and they're saying, I can't retain people, I can't retain my team. Do any of you have that challenge where you're having a turnover challenge within your business? We talked about that, and I love that Smiley put up the general millennial statistics, and it costs us $30 billion. That's a huge problem for this group. And if we can't retain the people making our great products, our businesses won't continue to be as effective. So we've got to come with a solution to our business owners about how we do that, and how we're going to do it better or different from them in a way that it speaks to them achieving their goals as product and sales and marketing leaders. So let's just do this real quick. What do you see? Tell the person next to you, what do you see here? What do you see? What do you see?
Nobody? Come on, we can get
Catherine's here. Michelle's here.
All right, I see, the three of them, I overheard them say saxophone player, which I thought was really good. But then I tried to look at the black space as well, and then I see like a face coming out into the color. So.
Great. Who else sees something else? Yes, Jennifer.
I also saw a pinky orangey face with a big chin, kind of laughing, and a big hair.
Great. Anybody see anything else? Anybody see none of the above?
We got a hand back here.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you for being brave. So this is leadership in action. When you sit down with your customer and you're getting to roll out, whether it be comp plan or performance management or unpaid, or we're not tracking PTO anymore as people and talent leaders, whatever initiative you're getting ready to go ahead and roll out, you need to look and think of this picture and say, are we seeing the same thing? This is leadership buy-in. Because usually the seat that we're coming from looks at it completely different than the seat that we're partnering with. And we have to get crystal clear that we're both after the same thing. And that is leadership buy-in. Under the premise of our purpose, mission, whatever you want to call it, and value system. It may sound easy, but why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? What's your biggest hang-up? What's your biggest constraint about doing this? What is that? Time. Oh, right. I don't have time for that. I don't have, who else doesn't have time for that? We're busy. We're busy. We don't have time for it. But then when we don't have time for it and an initiative goes out and it fails, who pays for it? Shout it out, shout it out. Everybody, specifically our customer. Specifically our customer. And this is where we can make the biggest impact and get leadership buy-in. When we roll out initiatives that are specific to our customer, specific and increasing utilization, driving retention of our customers, whatever the initiative may be, this is how we gain leadership buy-in and support. So we really want to ask you to take action. We're going to move through this exercise, but what I'd like you to do is take out your card right here. It's the culture, keep the conversation alive, culture in action. It's got our hashtag. And I want you just to take a minute right now and find yourself an accountability partner. And I want all of us to make a commitment. I want us to make an agreement to each other that within the next 7 days, and we'll send this deck out to everybody, you will engage in this exercise. Because it's powerful. And again, don't let Culture Summit end in vain. Think about what your current biggest project is. Is it one of these 3 things? Are you rolling out or eliminating performance management? That's hot right now. Are you eliminating PTO? Are you rolling out compensation to be, in my boat? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how much buy-in have you had? How did you relate to the business? And how did you leverage data to create the case? Get together with your accountability partner and talk about it. Talk about what you can do better or different. It's never too late. You can go back for a V2. You can go back for another iteration. How powerful would it be to go back to your key customers and say, I could have worked with you better, and I want to start over on this rollout with you, and I want to make sure we're fully aligned, crystal clear that we're seeing the same outcome, and let's go back and do this again because it matters to our business. Can we all agree that we're going to do that in the next 7 days? Hold your hand up if you're in. All right, we're gonna work on our commitment over lunch. All right. So as we get ready to close here, we're just gonna move through some things here, and I'd just like to invite you to stand up with me for a second. I want to acknowledge each and every one of you because you're not here to do it the way it's always been done. You want to make the world a better place for all the people that work with us. And our people and our companies are depending on us to make it better and different. So don't get stuck here. Don't get stuck here. Let's continue this conversation. Let's continue in this community. And let's continue to innovate with Tatiana's framework so that we can make the world a better place to work in. Because we want to have meaningful work, like Smiley said, and we want to have an impact in everything that we do. So I acknowledge each and every one of you for the work that you're doing. It's not easy. It's not the path most traveled. It's a new path, but we're here together to do it together. And I'm grateful for each one of you for doing the work that you're doing. I'm thankful for Vanessa and Hung, so share your gratitude with each of them for this mission and this community that we have together. So go forward, connect, help each other be better, dedicate your time and energy more than just a LinkedIn connection to making this world a better place to work in. Have a great lunch.